Hey there, good afternoon. It's still Monday, October 21st. It's the afternoon session. I am still Rob, that developer dad, and I'm building an admin system for the DM's Familiar. But I'm not just building an admin system for my product. I'm trying to do this in as generic a manner as possible so that the concepts and the components that I build could perhaps be lifted from this use and dropped into somebody else's uh, system and then modified to meet their specific needs. So maybe this might become a thing on its own, and I'm doing it all as open source and right here in front of y'all. Last week was focused on requirements gathering for this system, and that's high-level requirements, conceptual level type stuff, sort of the view of what it needs to do from 50,000 feet. Friday, we started looking at those requirements and making associations between the different things that we're going to be storing as resources and the activities that we can perform on them. And now we're starting to look at how those activities may be the same from one type of resource to the next. We're looking at how they may differ from one type of resource to the next. And more importantly, we're looking at how the manifestation of an activity for a particular resource may be vulnerable to change over time. And this is getting us towards thinking about how we're going to structure how all of this stuff works. So I've got an Excel spreadsheet open here, which is where I've been doing most of the work, most of this thought work stuff at this point. And I've got my processes down the leftmost column, the various activities that are involved in each process along the top. And it's like, okay, well, which activity applies to which process? Where do these activities live? Where should they execute? And I'm not thinking in terms of exact components. I'm thinking in terms of conceptual level stuff. And my green, as always, is a client component. My yellowish is API or manager components, and the blues are all resource access. Now we've got some, let's look at resource access in a little more detail here, because we've got multiple resource stores at play in this system. So this first sheet is, I'm going to rename it activities plus resources. I'm going to rename this to RA step plus resource plus activity context. This, I'm going to rename it to process activity. And now I want to go to activity to resource service. All right, so let's pop over here, and I'm going to grab, and it's actually process to resource service. Rename. Process. And we've got resource activity. Resource kind. Now the resource kind is not a column. Each resource kind will be a column. And for identity, we've got the identity provider. E-com service is another resource. And product storage is another conceptual resource location. Now let's bigify these. Excuse me. So I'm going to go to 18 so y'all can see it, and we're going to make it bold so that it's visible. Now let's get my resource activities. And that's retrieve, save, and remove. Whoops. Retrieve, save, remove. And you know what? I'm just going to make this whole sheet use 18-point type so that everything's nice and visible. And these two columns are also going to be bold. Now we're going to need retrieve, save, and remove for each of these processes. So new identity sign up. And we'll make A a little wider. Subscription sign up. And we're going to need these three. Paste them. Sub renewal. Paste. Pause sub. Paste. Resume sub. Paste. Discontinue. Sub. Paste. Cancel. Refund. Sub. And delete. And I'm just going to note GDPR. I am also going to include, let's refer back over here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Consume resource. release resource. Wait, quota. And the only two I need for, oh no. I need it for both. Cut that, paste it here. Grab this, grab that. All right, I want to go to view. I want to freeze the top row, freeze the first column. No, I don't want to freeze the first column. I want to freeze, yeah, no, we can freeze the first column. It's fine. This is going to be a wide spreadsheet. So identity sign up. Retrieve. Are we retrieving the identity? Hey, what's up, Erky? Erkimus? Sorry, Erky was actually an NPC in the last campaign I ran. He was this poor little halfling cleric who was part of an NPC adventuring party that got lost in a dungeon that the players' party was visiting, and they rescued him briefly. But then during the boss fight, there were some ads during the boss fight, and those ads were weeping angels, and they zapped poor Erky and displaced him in time and space. And the monk, the player who was running the monk character in the party, had developed some sort of emotional attachment to Erky, and it became a running joke. He would always be like, poor Erky, I wonder where Erky is now. I wonder when Erky is now. And at one point, one of the player characters actually got zonked by one of the weeping angels and sent to another universe for a side game for a one-off. And I worked that into this campaign. And they actually ended up researching how to locate that player character and then create a portal to where that player character was. And they got access to a wing of wishes that they were considering using, that kind of thing. And the monk player was like, I wonder if we could use this for Erky. We got to get Erky back. Meanwhile, like the player of the character who got zapped to an alternate universe is sitting right there at the table, is like, hey. So from then on, any time the monk would make a critical hit, I'd actually manifest the critical hit as Erky popping into that reality, smashing the bad guy with his mace, and then phasing back out of reality again. It was really funny. So when I see Erkimus, I just occasionally think back to oh, poor Erky. And so I've got the same players running a new campaign set 500 years in the future after the original campaign. And I'm seriously considering having this poor little displaced in time and space halfling cleric make appearances here and there throughout the new campaign, just for funsies. So for identity sign up, we're not necessarily going to be reading from the identity provider. We are absolutely going to be using. So yes, and you know what? We'd best, the identity provider is involved in that aspect of things. And knows I'm just going to leave blank. For product storage, we do need to create a record whenever somebody is signing up for or creating their identity within the product. Subscription sign up. The identity provider, I'm going to say, no. No. For subscription sign up, yes, yes, yes. Leave nose blank, Rob. Because this, I need to remember that this is within the context of my system and not the remote or the resource itself. So during subscription sign up and remove, is remove involved? With sign up. Delete. Yeah, remove isn't really part of those processes. Sub-renewal, remove doesn't apply. Hey, what's up, C Films? I'm doing okay. Unfortunately, that job I was so excited about last week did not materialize. Pardon me. So after this stream is done and I've got it all posted over to YouTube and stuff like that, I do need to get back into hawking my resume all over the planet again. Discontinue sub, remove is eventually cancel and refund, remove yes. Consume quota, release quota doesn't really apply here. Delete. So during the save process, yes, the identity provider is involved as data source. And I'm just going to take the word data out of there. Source. And in fact, using mathematical factoring, since I am only populating the things where it matters, source, destination. Source for subscription sign up. I might leverage the identity provider for some source data. Save. The e-commerce service is the source of the subscription. Destination. Source. Source. Self. Self-source. Subscription sign up, source for retrieving. No. This is self-source. And it lands in product storage. For sub-renewal, we don't really have any retrieval operations. Yes, we do. It's initiated by the e-com service using itself as the source. When it gets to my system, identity sign up, retrieving within the context of my system. The identity provider is the source of the user data when they sign up. Once they sign in for the first time, or when they create their identity, that's done within the identity provider. And then my system queries the identity system for their information and stores it in the product's DB. For subscription sign up, I reference the local product DB to see if they already have a subscription. If they don't, I don't present a buy now button. If they don't have a subscription, I present the buy now. If they do, I present a manage my subscription. Save is initiated by some activity in the e-com system, calls the webhook with the data, which eventually ends up in my database. Renewal, initiated at the e-com service, calls the webhook, does not query my system for anything. Self-source, destination. Pause sub, retrieve, nope. Self-source, source, save. Is the source of the data that comes in. The update from e-com service Zoom sub. Is a data source. Save. Self-source. Destination. When they pause their subscription, I need to update the identity provider. The SaaS product, I have some finishing touches to put on it, sort out the upgraded hosting for something that's more suited to production, and launch it. I want to wait until I've got a couple of users committed to actually paying for it before I make that move, because production level hosting does come with a static monthly cost. and I want to take a look at what that static monthly cost is going to be. And then that will dictate how many users I need a commitment from before I actually pull the trigger and do that stuff. This is all preparation for me automating the software on my side within the product or within the product's systems to handle e-commerce events that are going to be raised to me by the payment provider service that I'm going to be signing up for shortly. So sub renewal, we don't really update anything here. We do write to the identity provider when a subscription sign up completes, or when we get word that a subscription has been created. Luckily, I know a whole lot of D&D nerds, and several of them have already said they're willing to sign up for this thing that I'm building. All right, discontinue sub. We're not we do need to retrieve. So identity provider is going to be a source. It's also going to be a source here for validation. Ecom service is the initiator and the source of the event data. It's also going to be a source for validating saving the discontinue. It's going to be a I don't actually have to write any code inside the ecom service for that. I'm also not going to need to write any code for setting up for a pause my subscription. Save on discontinue. We update the identity provider. Gah. Here we go. When the last paid day elapses, we need to remove the identity from the groups that allow access to paid features. Retrieve. Source. saving a cancel and refund. Destination, self source, destination. Destination, destination. And I'm really wondering if save and remove. Yeah. So remove, that's deferred. Should remove from IDP immediately. Delete source, 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 just source. That's on retrieving data for delete. Save, destination, copy, paste, retrieve. So for consuming quota, source, destination, source, destination. All right. Yeah, it is incredibly tricky to get users. And that's why for the first release, this sort of beta, I'm just going to do it by invitation only to people that I've talked to about this project. So I'm going to have multiple identity providers or multiple resources. Identity, MS Entra, ecom, is lemon squeezy, probably. Product, my own stuff, SQL Server. So within the context of these things, my identity provider, these external resources, these external services will absolutely be represented by resource access components. But I'm not going to call it iLemon Squeezy. I'm going to call it e-commerce provider and subscription provider. let's pull this over to my other system or over to my other monitor. Boop. So I'm actually going to use notes for this bit and pull this into a new window where I've had it. Here we go. And because I've identified things, I've got identity provider. We are going to have load identity. Or we're just going to have load returns user identity with current group assignments. We are also going to have add to group receives I believe it's called object ID. Identity ID. Returns user identity with current group assignments. Add to group. Receives identity ID and group name. Returns user identity with current group assignments. Public, remove from group. Receives identity ID and group ID returns user identity with current groups. User identity maps to, we'll get into that later, e-commerce provider. There's not much we're going to be querying from the e-commerce provider in the process of these, or in the execution of these processes. It's going to be calling us via webhook with the data that we need. Oh yeah, this music's great. It's from Carl Casey, White Bat Audio. Give me a second. There's the thing that I'm required to include in my stream descriptions. I love this guy's stuff. And it's free for use with attribution. I really dig the stuff that he puts together. He's got hours of music that I can use for these streams. And I'm an old goth industrial head, like from the club scene in the 90s and stuff like that. And it really reminds me of a lot of that stuff. So identity provider, we got a load, we add to group, remove from group, plus, and I'm going to say GDPR delete. Receives identity ID, returns bool, returns error or nothing if successful. E-commerce provider. Where's my stuff? Here's my stuff. It's got a bit of a special case because right now, all of these operations, I'm going to limit to implementing them as if they are originating at the e-commerce provider. The one exception to this is on new subscription sign up. And I haven't done enough research on how this whole integration needs to happen to be able to actually make a call on the detailed designs here. Need research on this. Subscription provider. And I'm not in love with that name yet. It has load customer, load subscription, save customer, save subscription, and load subscription and save subscription are involved in all of these things, one or the other. We know we definitely need GDPR delete, receives ecom ID, ecom customer ID, returns pass fail. I was going to say returns pass fail here as well. Load customer, save customer, load subscription, save subscription. Plus GDPR delete. And I'm less concerned about consume and release quota because I've already got those implemented within the product. Excuse me. However, I quota provider plus load quotas, save quota. Yeah, that's really it for the quota provider. Load customer, save customer, load subscription, save subscription, GDPR delete. I'm second guessing this quota provider. Yeah. So we've got those resource access things, right? Now we need a manager. And I think a good name for a manager for all of this stuff is the account manager. Yeah. Yeah. Use cases. Let's come out to docs, see what we've got here. Business rules, external systems, use cases. I'm going to add a file, components.md. System components for the admin subsystem. I'm going to take a real short break, and when I come back, we're going to start listing these components out. Just be a minute, folks. All right, I'm back. Okay. Clients. Webhooks. And a admin UI. Deferred may never happen. Must have for ecom integration. Presentation. Client backend. BFF. Backend for front ends. Accounts. Workload. Provider. Likely an API. Function app. Deferred may never happen. Likely a .NET Core API. And I'm likely going to use a minimal API for that. Backend system components. Account manager. Managers, engines, resource access, Let's do a preview on this. I want to make sure I've got my markdown correct here. Presentation, webhooks, admin UI. All right, I'm going to demote these to just bullet points that are bold. Preview. Preview again. There we go. There's your function app. high priority. Bold that. Blazor, Maui, ASP.NET Core, MVC. Don't know. Deferred may never happen. Like I said, low priority. .NET Core, API. Will start off as simple .NET projects, classes, interfaces, classes. May get discrete hosting eventually if needed. All right. Managers, account manager, engines. Prorate. Engine. Resource access. Customer access. Subscription access. And those are the only two things that we're going to be dealing with specifically, I believe, according to my notes. Okay. Excuse me. And I don't want to use the term e-commerce provider. I want to use store gateway. Subscription access, store gateway. Yeah. And resource providers. MS Entra provider. Lemon Squeezy provider. And local, no. product. Do I want to call it product? Naming things is hard, man. So product. What's it actually doing is it's integrating between the administrative and the identity provider and the store provider or the store gateway and the actual product database. So product storage provider. And I don't like the term product storage because it's overloaded. I think delivery integration provider is a really long frickin' name. Broker service is hugely overloaded. And way too broad. I'm looking for a good name for the component that is going to be updating the data that is used within the product itself to govern a user's quotas and what they've paid for, what they have access to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the word there, entitlements provider. Yeah, it's what the user, it's what entitlements are granted to the end user. So let's add some information, let's add some descriptions about these. Account manager provides, actually, wait. Implements the subscription focused use cases. Receives incoming requests via DTO and validates that inbound data against, ensures the inbound request data is correct for the activity to be executed. Process to be executed. Routes that data to the appropriate engines and resource components to execute the process. Prorate engine. We also have a validation engine. We also have rules access. For identity. For identity. And authorization. Primary system of record, primary source of truth for auth N and auth Z. Let's put this on a new line. Primary system of record for identity, user identity, and group membership. Lemon squeezy provider used for can query customer subscription transaction history from e-commerce service primarily acts as the source of incoming account management use cases, can initiate cart sessions via HTTP post, providing a unique URL to the cart in the response. I may or may not use this feature. Entitlements provider is the local database that holds the information necessary to operate the product when being used by a subscriber. Is a system of record, but mostly for reference during day-to-day operations, is not the source of truth for identity or subscription status. Customer access loads a customer from entitlement, identity, any of entitlement, identity, or e-commerce providers. can initiate a save operation against entitlement, identity, or e-commerce providers. Any of. Subscription access loads a customer subscription from entitlement or e-commerce. Any of entitlement or e-commerce providers can initiate a save operation against any of the same. Oh, against any of, because saving a subscription may affect information in the identity store. Store gateway used to create new process sessions at the within the e-commerce system service responds with a URL to a page within that service where a customer can complete the operation. Rules access reads and writes the rules used to govern validity and correctness of inbound resource data for a variety of contexts. And I'm going to step away for just one more minute, and I'll be right back once again. Excuse me. Okay, I'm back. All right, let's take a look at this stuff in the terms of, well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to commit these changes so I don't lose them. Create components. Commit. There we go. Let's take a peek. All right. application resource providers. Okay, good. Now, I'm going to take this manifest. I'm going to hide that. And let's close that one. Don't want that. This one. Yeah, we can work with this. Use case flow. I'm just going to get rid of that. Goodbye. So the only places that these use cases are going to be accessed from is eventually through the API, but it's going to be through the client application, either the whatever I build for me to use as a front end thing. I may never get to it, or these webhooks. So let's start with the workload provider. And I am going to call it the administrative API. Workload provider is just sort of a conceptual name. Administration. Did I spell it right? I can't really tell. Can I zoom in? What's this? Insert link? No. View? Where's zoom? Here we go. Command Alt mouse wheel. Okay. Actually, I'm going to zoom out while I do this little bit of manipulation here. Customer, sales, product management. Goodbye. Actually, I'm going to delete all but one. Customer, product management. You're out of here. Account manager. We don't need these arrows. Get rid of that text. Now, I'm going to copy this guy. Validation engine. We're also going to have a proration. A prorate engine. I'm just going to put both of these guys over here, but I'm going to turn them orange because that's what I like to use for engines. And we're going to need black text because white on orange is torture. I'm going to customer access. Subscription access. store gateway. Store gateway is going to have a high delta and a very low sigma. Rules access. And we'll 86 that. Now, these are my resource access components. These are provider components. MS, Entra, provider, lemon, squeezy, provider, and entitlements, provider. Customer, subscription, store gateway, rules access. Now, these guys, we're going to scoot you to the left. Validate and prorate need to trade places. As a matter of fact, validate and rules access are coming over here. Entra ID, you're coming this way. Now I'm going to scooch all of you over here. Entitlements provider, you're coming over here. Grab you guys, tighten them up. Here we go. Grab all of this. Pull it over here. Prorate, you're coming over here. Validate and rules access are coming over here. Pull rules access down here. System data, provider. And I need a can. There we go. Our shrinky dinky doo. And squeezy API. You, my friend, your style is going to be this baby blue with a nice black text. And rules. Copy, paste. DB. Product DB dot, I think it's the user's schema. Users and product DB users and dot product info, for lack of a better word for that schema. Product DB dot system data. Yeah, system data. That's what I'm going to call that schema. All right, and it sounds like I just got a new follower. Oh no, Frightful has rated. Frightful, how's it going? All right, so we've got an account manager, a validation engine, prorate engine, rules access, customer access, subscription access, the store gateway, all of whom may use any of these providers. So let's think about our administration API. And I need to give it a style. Green with black text. And I need a bigger font size. Let's go to 18. Straight of administration API. Text. Flurp. And the style on this text, I'm going to go that. Oh, that's blinding. I don't love that. No, and you know what? This doesn't belong on the architecture diagram at all. Delete that. Now, this SaaS admin system. Yeah, I think that works. I think that works nicely. Okay. My coffee is getting cold. And as a visitor, ew. It's that time of year where outside likes to get inside. And tends to be a bit of a jerk. All right, I should save this. Now, this guy, I don't even have a local repository for this yet, but I'm going to export as a PNG, zoom 100% size diagram, appearance dark, yeah. Just the first page. Export. Where are you going? Nope. We're going to go to my desktop. content. Heck with it, app images. Admin system, static arch. Save. Now, where's GitHub? We're over here. Come back to docs. I'm going to add images slash. I don't like that. Image list.md. List of images in this folder. Commit changes. Yeah. Commit. Files main. I don't want to add a file. I think I have to come out to code. I think I go to docs, maybe. Oh, yeah. Duh. Add file. Upload. And give me a Finder window. Here we are. Desktop content. App images. Boop that in. Add files via upload. Adds static arch diagram for the admin system. Commit. Oopie-doopie-doo. Go to docs. See how big this guy is. Admin system static arch. And there it is. Thing of beauty. All right. And we've got our components. Let's edit. Static architecture, and then how do we add an image through Markdown? Apple T, how to inject an image in Markdown. I can never remember this stuff. Copy image address, paste the image address. Instead of the image URL in Markdown, the image will be inserted. Thanks. There we go. Image, files, users, blah, 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 blah. Yes, give me all the cookies. Alt text, isolated.png title. Okay. I'll pull this over here so I can refer to it. And alt text, exclamation point. A static architecture diagram for the DM's familiar a SaaS product admin system. And it's docs / images / admin system static arch.png, and the title is admin static architecture. Commit the changes, and hopefully, oh yeah, I blew that up. I didn't do that right at all. Copy link. What's the link look like? I probably goofed it. Something fierce. Oh, come on. Open link in new tab. Yeah, I know I got a 404. Blog main docs images. Okay. Close that, edit. Okay, so this is inside docs. I don't need the images. Commit. Open link in new tab. Let's see what I goofed up this time. Main images. Come on. Come on. How about /docs? Commit. There we go. Stack design, SaaS, admin system. Oh yeah. All right. Tomorrow, we're going to start creating a markdown for each of these components. And adding details about each of these components, such as what does it rely on? What are the dependencies? What interfaces do we expose? What behaviors do the interfaces describe, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this is where we start to get into the really wonky, detailed design aspects of this thing. And I've got homework to do around this lemon squeezy provider. Oh, come on, Rob. It's not a sitemap. Excuse me. So yeah, we'll start diving into more and more detail as this week progresses. And until tomorrow, thanks for joining me. Thanks for hanging out. I am the Developer Dad, and take care of yourselves. Happy coding. Later, y'all.